Tyler from Aspire Sports, and who are some of the top ads for Week 13 of the fantasy football season? I can't believe we're already at Week 13. I say this in every single video, basically, but the NFL season is absolutely flying by. So who are some guys that can help you make that playoff push as more injuries start to pile up, more bye weeks? These are guys that can help you win your Week 13 matchups. Now, I'm going to go in order in terms of running backs, wide receiver, tight end, quarterbacks. So jump to the part of the video where you need to add certain guys. So with that being said, if you enjoy the content, make sure you do me a big favor, hit the like button, also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get into the video. The top waiver wire ad this week really depends on what exactly we get from the information coming out in the next couple of days in terms of these injuries. So I want to go over my thought process in this video real quick. So Chuba Hubbard, Amir Abdullah are last on this list just because this team has a bye week next week. So that's why they're last. But if we get word that CMC is going to be out for an extended period of time, then they would definitely jump the list. The guy that I would want first is going to be Chuba Hubbard because they play Atlanta coming out of the bye, and that game should be competitive. So Chuba Hubbard should see a decent amount of work, where Amir Abdullah is more their passing down back, where if they're in games where it's not a positive game script, then Amir Abdullah, you will see him play more than Chuba Hubbard. Next, Alexander Mattison. What happens with Dalvin Cook? He gets an MRI tomorrow. If he's out for an extended period of time as well, we already know with Alexander Mattison, he's absolutely the bell cow in this offense with no Dalvin Cook. So he would be first on the list if Dalvin Cook were to miss time. Next, we have Jamal Williams, where DeAndre Swift right now, they said it wasn't serious. It's kind of day to day. So hopefully he plays this week. I don't know if he's going to play, but if he does not play, Jamal Williams then becomes a guy that sees a lot of volume in this offense that's trying to run the football right now. So I would want, in this order, Alexander Mattison, Jamal Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Amir Abdullah. If there's some massive breaking news, then obviously I'll make a new video on this. But that's the order right now. So these are the first set of guys. The next guy on the list is going to be Boston Scott. And you had Miles Sanders get hurt in this game. So I don't know what the significance is of his injury. But if he were to miss time, then Boston Scott is the next man up. You already have Jordan Howard hurt. Now, Jordan Howard was considered week to week, so maybe he comes back next week, but it's a knee injury. And they have a week 14 bye, so it would make sense if he's out until then. So if both those guys are out, Boston Scott next week against the New York Jets, the team that's giving up the most points to the running back position, absolutely smash that. So Boston Scott would be the next guy on the list for me. The next guy on the list is going to be Tevin Coleman. And with Michael Carter on IR, we just saw Tevin Coleman touch the rock 18 times. That's really solid for a guy on waivers right now if he's available in your league. A guy that next week plays the Philadelphia Eagles, which is a solid matchup for the running back position this year in fantasy football. He's an RB3, a volume-based RB3 next week in that matchup. The next guy on the list is going to be Rex Burkhead. And last week we saw him see 18 touches. This past week he saw 15 touches. So he's seeing volume as well, kind of like Tevin Coleman. Now his is not very efficient volume, where he's averaged under 3 yards per carry in this game, has been for the past 2 weeks. So it's not very good there, but still a guy that's seeing volume, especially this week. He saw 3 catches for 27 yards. So that's at least good. Next week they get the Indianapolis Colts, which the Colts should beat up on the Texans. So they should be playing from behind. Rex Burkhead looks to be like kind of more the preferred option right now in the receiving game at the running back position. So Rex Burkhead becomes a guy that is viable at this point of the year. All right, we're week 13 where injuries are piling up, bye weeks. Rex Burkhead is next on the list. The next guy on the list is going to be Kendrick Bourne. And Kendrick Bourne had a really solid game today against the Tennessee Titans, who are currently giving up the most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. He had 2 touchdowns. But a lot of people, I think, are going to chase the box score stats on Kendrick Bourne right now, rather than looking at the whole picture, where over the course of the season, he has been solid. He still has to have his bye week, though. And next week, he gets the Buffalo Bills, where the Buffalo Bills are currently giving up the fewest points to the wide receiver position. Now, you just did have Tre'Davious White, who's out for the season with an ACL injury. But Kendrick Bourne over the past 4 weeks has seen 18 targets. That's not good at all. This is a team that wants to run the football in a really tough matchup next week against Buffalo. Don't expect them to put up this kind of performance, but still a guy who's been decent on the season. And if you need some help at the wide receiver position, he would be a guy I would look into adding. The next guy on the list is going to be Deshaun Jackson. And you're probably going to have a lot of people who are also going to chase the box score stats with Deshaun Jackson, see the 3 catches, 102 yards, and the touchdown. But I will say this about Deshaun Jackson. This team needs a guy who's able to take the top off of the defense. Without Henry Ruggs, they're missing a big void, which Deshaun Jackson is now filling. The week prior, he played on 36% of this team's snaps. It just went up to 48%. So as he's getting more comfortable with this team, with this offense, expect the snap share to go up, meaning more possibility, more targets. And he's just a boomer bust kind of guy. So if you're swinging for the fences, last ditch effort to try to get in the playoffs here, and you really need somebody, you need a really big boom game out of somebody, Deshaun Jackson is going to be your guy. Next week, he gets the Washington football team, who Washington football team have been terrible this year against the receiver position. So Deshaun Jackson is your guy if you need that boom guy for next week. The next guy on the list is going to be Russell Gage, and we're going from a boomer bust guy in Deshaun Jackson to now a safer floor with Russell Gage of somebody who's on waiver wire right now. Over the past 4 weeks, 3 out of the 4 weeks, he has seen at least 7 targets in those games. So he's seeing targets right now, plays on a team that's not very good. They're going to have to throw the ball. And next week, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which they should be playing from behind a lot in this game. So Russell Gage becomes a kind of guy who, if you're in a PPR league, especially full point PPR league, a guy that's decent and will get you some points next week. So Russell Gage is next on the list. Going from a guy I really like to a guy that, has a pulse in fantasy football at the tight end position and might see some opportunity here with James O'Shaughnessy. Now, you just had Dan Arnold go down in this game. You know me, I like Dan Arnold. He went down with a knee injury. Now O'Shaughnessy was activated for this game and then just took over at the tight end position after Dan Arnold went down. So O'Shaughnessy would be the next guy going up. And as I said with Dan Arnold, prior to last week, Dan Arnold was first on the team in targets, receptions, and yards on the Jacksonville team since week 4 when he was traded to this team. So you have Trevor Lawrence, who likes to target the tight end position. James O'Shaughnessy saw 5 targets in this game, 3 catches, 29 yards. Yeah, it's nothing great, but still a guy that has a pulse at the tight end position, has opportunity, and that's what you're looking for at this time of the year. So if Dan Arnold does miss extended period of time, James O'Shaughnessy becomes a tight end number 2, a viable somebody in fantasy football if you just need somebody to get you through the bye week. Next, we have some streaming options at the quarterback position, and the first guy is going to be Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke next week it's the Las Vegas Raiders in what currently has an over-under of 48.5 points, which is decently high scoring. So a guy that so far this season has been decent as well in terms of fantasy football and has that rushing upside as well that you like to see in quarterbacks. So Taylor Heinicke is the first streaming option at the quarterback. Next on the list is going to be Tua. Now, if Teddy Bridgewater is okay to go next week, I'd rather play Teddy Bridgewater over Tua, but I'm not sure if Teddy Bridgewater is going to play. He did get hurt in this game. He came back in, but he still wasn't right. But Tua next week gets the New York Giants, who the New York Giants just played really well against Jalen Hurts and shut him down. So why play Tua? Well, I think the Giants overperformed, and they're going to Miami next week. It's going to be a tougher matchup, especially after coming back down once they just beat up a divisional rival in the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to come back down to earth in this game. And Tua usually beats up on bad teams. So I think Tua is going to go out there and have a solid day next week in fantasy football. And that does it here for me. If there's anybody that you think I forgot, let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.